Hi, okay, so this video was actually supposed to be filmed on a Wednesday, but I don't care, it's Thursday. I just wanted to do this, so I'm going to do it, whatever. So, in the YouTube realm, there's bookworms, there's this thing called Top 5 Wednesdays, and so yesterday was Top 5 Classics, and I was like, I have to do a video about this because classics are the only kinds of books that I read. I rarely read modern literature unless it's highly, highly celebrated. And so, most of the time I'm reading a lot of books that have kind of stood the test of time, and, Thackeray, and, Nabokov, and, Dostoevsky, and Austen, and, those kinds of books. So, anyways, and so, like I said, the 5 Wednesday was your top 5 classics, and of course I have an opinion about classics, because that's pretty much only books that I read. And, so let me just kick this thing off because I'm like repeating myself. Okay, so number 5 is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I loved this book, and I was on the fence about choosing this as opposed to The Fellowship of the Ring, which I just finished, but I really, really, really like The Hobbit so much better. Number 1, it was really funny. Number 2, I loved Bilbo because he was such a smartass, and he had such quick wit. And I just love the whole dwarves and Gandalf, and I just really, really, and the dragon. I love dragons. I believe that they really existed at some time. Call me silly, but it's true. So anything with a dragon in it, it's like, oh, it's a dragon. So I really, really like The Hobbit, and I'm pretty sure I'll be reading it again because I just thought it was so cute. I really like The Hobbit. It was a good book. So that's number 5. Number 4 is The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. I originally saw the movie that was directed by Martin Scorsese, and it starred Daniel Day-Lewis as Newland Archer, Winona Ryder as Mae Welland, which I believe she won an Oscar. I know she was nominated for an Oscar for her role in this movie, but I think she might have actually won it. And it has Michelle Pfeiffer as Madame Olenska. I loved the film because I used to be super into Victorian costuming, and the time was around the 1880s, so it's the Gilded era, the natural form era of Victorian fashion, and so the costumes in the movie are stunning, and I just really liked the movie, and it made me want to read the book, and I ended up reading the book and actually loving it. And I love the story because I love stories of unrequited love. So I love the Romeo and Juliets, and I like Water for Chocolate. These people that kind of want to be together and can't. And so I love stories like that. And I like tragic love. I'm a weirdo. And so I love this book. Like, it moved me. It made me cry. It's just a very, very good book. And I've read it twice. It is definitely one of my favorite novels, period, dot. And so, I really like this book. And I believe that she was the first female author to win a Pulitzer Prize, and it was for this book, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. So, but I believe she won a Pulitzer Prize for this book, and it really is a very good book. So, I love, love, love The Age of Innocence. Excellent, excellent, excellent book. Next one, I don't really have it. I mean, I do have it, but I'm just going to have to use this. So this says Jane Austen's 7 novels. I have not read all 7 of these, but one of these in particular is one of my favorites. And number 2 and number 3, I was kind of, struggling with which one I'm going to put first, but I think I have this in the right order. So it is Pride and Prejudice. I have read it, I think, 2.5 times, or 1.5 times. I love Pride and Prejudice. I love Mr. Darcy. I love Elizabeth Bennet. I love her family. It's a funny book, and every woman just wants her own Mr. I feel like I'm married to my Mr. Darcy, so I just love. It's just one of those kind of timeless, classic love stories, and but not those simpering ones, like And I'm not a very sappy chick in a sense of like The Notebook or A Walk to Remember. That kind of crap just makes me sick. So I like these kinds of smart, witty kind of romances. So I really, really liked Pride and Prejudice, and I like the movie with Keira Knightley, but the better adaptation is the BBC Pride and Prejudice miniseries. I think it's like 5 episodes. I have it. I love it. I used to watch it every day because they just got it so right. And Colin Firth is just an amazing Mr. Darcy. He's everything. So, anyways, Pride and Prejudice is number 3. Number 2 is The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. This is one of my favorite books. I love this story. I've read it 3 times. I remember having to read it in high school and reading it, and I was weeping reading this book. It just touched me so much, and just the story of Wang Lung and him striving with poverty and rising above it, and how it changes him, and what it means for his family, and just their ability to adapt, and his wife, Olan. She's probably one of my favorite literary characters, female literary woman. I would even say one of my favorite female heroines, even though that may not necessarily be her role or her intended role, but she was just such a strong, powerful character. I really loved her so much. I just love this book. And I think, actually, she's what I love about the book more so than the actual main character, which is Wang Lung. I think he's kind of a forgettable character, personally. But his wife I just really connected with her. And so it is one of my favorite books. I love that book. And then number 1, which should be no surprise to you guys, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I love this book. Okay, so I've read it 7 times. The 6th and the 7th time I read it, went back to the first page and read it through again, because that's just how much I love this book. I love To Kill a Mockingbird. It's such a simple story, but it's just something about this book, that story, it just really, really got to me. Every time they meet Boo Radley, I cry. Every single time. I own the movie. And Atticus Finch is probably one of, you know how you have these characters, and it's like, you know, if you could be in love with a character in the book, like, which one would it be? Atticus Finch would probably be one of my top men in, you know, books that, I would want to be in love with, or something like that, because he really is just a stand-up guy, and I don't know, it's really hard. You just gotta read it. It's hard to explain. I don't really know why it's my favorite book, and it's a lot of people's favorite books, but it's just an excellent story, and you love Scout, and you love Jim, and you really love Atticus, and you feel for him. And I like reading books about the South, and the things, you know, race relations, kind of, because I grew up in the North, and I just didn't really have a whole lot of experience with that. I grew up in a very predominantly black, area. So reading these books that kind of talk about racial tension and you know, kind of that era of time in our country are always very fascinating for me, like The Help and, you know, books like that, because it's just such a foreign concept for me. So, I think that's another reason why I like that story so much. So anyways, those are my top 5 classics. Love those books. Give them a shout. Read them. They're amazing. That list could possibly change, you know, because, like I said, I read classics all the time, so I could end up liking another one. But I don't think anything will knock To Kill a Mockingbird off its pedestal, honestly. So it is what it is. I got this video out. Hope you guys like it. And yeah, that's it. So talk to you guys later. Bye.